In this video we will understand Unit 5, Coping with Stress. Here we cover definition and nature of coping and understand goals of coping. Next, coping styles. In this we understand proactive coping and avoidant coping. At last, emotion-focused coping and problem-focused coping. Let's start with introduction. Sanya's story. 1. Sanya initially wanted a career in dance, but her parents insisted she pursue a professional course. 2. She reluctantly joined an MBA program to please her parents, even though it wasn't her true interest. 3. Sanya struggled to keep up with the demands of the MBA program, despite her best efforts to study hard. 4. Her poor performance in exams led to frustration and stress. 5. The combined pressure from her parents, the stress of the program, and not being able to pursue her passion made her feel irritable and angry. 6. These negative emotions started affecting her relationships with friends. 7. Eventually, she talked to her parents, convinced them to let her pursue her interest in dance, and enrolled in a performing arts institute. 8. In this new environment, she excelled and received appreciation from her teachers. Sharan's story. 1. Sharan received a long-awaited promotion and was initially very happy. 2. However, the promotion brought a significant increase in responsibilities and work overload. 3. The stress and burnout resulting from this situation caused Sharan to make mistakes at work and face criticism and blame. 4. He began experiencing symptoms of depression and even had suicidal thoughts. 5. Eventually, Sharan sought help from a clinical psychologist to cope with his situation. Summary of the two stories. In the first story, Sanya faced stress and pressure but ultimately found a way to cope effectively by pursuing her true passion in dance. In contrast, Sharan struggled to cope with the stress and work overload that came with his promotion, leading to serious mental health issues that required professional intervention. The two stories highlight that people respond to stress differently and use various coping strategies, some of which may be effective, while others can be harmful. Let's understand definition and nature of coping. 1. Definition of coping. Coping is how an individual deals with the stress they experience. Effective coping means handling stress well, while ineffective coping means struggling with it. 2. Types of coping. Coping involves the individual's response to stressful situations or negative events, and it aims to reduce the negative effects, psychological, physical, or social, of those situations. 3. Instrumental and palliative coping. Coping can be instrumental, focused on problem solving or changing emotions through cognitive appraisal, or palliative, managing emotions through cognitive reappraisal. In both cases, it's about dealing with demands caused by stress. 4. Adaptive versus maladaptive coping. Adaptive coping reduces stress and has long-term positive effects, while maladaptive coping provides short-term relief but can harm physical and psychological health. Examples of maladaptive coping include alcohol or drug use, smoking, isolation, and self-criticism. 5. Individual differences in coping. People cope differently based on their personality, tolerance for stimulation, psychological hardiness, attribution style, optimistic or pessimistic, and sense of coherence. 6. Personality and coping. Personality influences how an individual perceives and responds to stress. People with different personalities will have different coping styles. 7. Hardiness and resilience. Psychological hardiness, involving commitment, control, and challenge, affects how individuals deal with stress. Resilience plays a role in coping with stressful situations. 8. Attribution style. Optimistic individuals cope better with stress compared to pessimistic individuals. Attribution style influences coping strategies. 9. Learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is a concept where individuals may feel unable to respond adaptively to stress due to previous experiences of inescapable shock. 10. Sense of coherence. Sense of coherence is a feeling of confidence that the environment is structured and manageable, resources are available, and challenges are worth engaging with. It affects coping. 11. Gender differences. Men and women cope differently. Women often use emotion-focused coping strategies, seek social support, and worry continuously, while men may resort to maladaptive strategies like alcohol and drug use. 12. Psychological distress. Women may experience more psychological distress, depression, and anxiety due to their emotion-focused coping strategies. 13. External factors. Coping can also depend on external factors like social support. 14. Goals of coping. The main goals of coping are to reduce the impact of stress, adjust to negative situations, maintain a positive self-image, and sustain positive interpersonal relationships. 15. Assessing coping effectiveness. Effective coping results in recovery, adaptation to stress, positive self-image, emotional balance, and healthy relationships. It can be assessed through physiological indicators, reduced psychological distress, and improved functioning compared to before a negative event. In summary, coping is about how individuals deal with stress, and it can be influenced by various factors like personality, resilience, attribution style, and gender. Effective coping leads to positive outcomes, while ineffective coping can have negative consequences on health and well-being. Now we will understand coping styles. 1. Categorizing coping styles. The text starts by discussing coping styles, which are ways individuals deal with stress. These styles are divided into 4 categories. Proactive coping. In this style, individuals directly confront stressful situations and take action to better understand and handle them. Avoidant coping. This style involves trying to avoid or downplay stressful situations, which can lead to increased stress and reduced self-confidence. Emotion-focused coping. This style is about managing emotional reactions to stress without necessarily changing the situation itself. Problem-focused coping. In this style, individuals tackle the source of the stress by identifying and addressing the problem directly. 2. Proactive coping. Stage 1. Accumulation of resources. Individuals gather information and resources to prepare for a stressful situation. Stage 2. Identifying the potential stressor. They anticipate or identify the specific stressor. Stage 3. Initial appraisal. They evaluate the stressful situation. Stage 4. Preliminary efforts to cope. Based on their initial assessment, they take action. If it doesn't work, they try different approaches. Stage 5. Seeking feedback. They seek feedback to make adjustments and changes. 3. Avoidant coping. This style involves avoiding or minimizing stressful thoughts, feelings, or behaviors, which can lead to increased anxiety and decreased self-confidence. Avoidance coping can hinder progress toward goals if it causes anxiety or negative thoughts. 4. Emotion-focused coping. This style aims to manage emotional reactions to stress rather than changing the situation. It can help reduce the intensity of negative emotions associated with stress. It's often used when the stressful situation cannot be changed. Positive reappraisal, where individuals focus on positive aspects of the situation, is also part of this style. Emotion-focused coping strategies include activities like listening to music, maintaining a diary, meditation, and exercise. 5. Drawbacks of emotion-focused coping. It may not address the source of the stress, offering only temporary relief. Long-term solutions may not be sought through this coping style. 6. Problem-focused coping. This style involves identifying and directly addressing the source of the problem causing stress. It is effective when the source of stress is clear and can be controlled by the individual. Obstacles in dealing with the situation should be avoided. Strategies include time management, seeking support, and seeking help from others. 7. Appraisal-focused coping. This style challenges an individual's assumptions about their perception of the stressor through cognitive reappraisal. 8. Combative and preventive coping. Combative coping involves actively trying to remove or overcome the stressor. It includes stress monitoring, resource accumulation, direct confrontation, stress tolerance, and arousal reduction. Preventive coping focuses on cognitive restructuring to make the stressor less threatening, strengthening one's resistance to prevent the stressor, making adjustments to avoid stressor, modifying behavior patterns, and developing coping resources. In summary, coping styles are the ways individuals handle stress, and they can be proactive, avoidant, emotion-focused, or problem-focused. Each style has its benefits and limitations, and the choice of coping style depends on the nature of the stressor and individual preferences. So, in this unit we understood definition and nature of coping. In definition we understood goals of coping, then coping styles. In coping style we understood proactive coping and avoidant coping at last. Emotion-focused coping and problem-focused coping.